I call this video How I Made and Lost Hundreds of Millions of Dollars. Now, to make this and future videos, I'm using a technique called automatic writing, and that's where you self-hypnotize and then you call on your spirit team, which includes your higher self, and then you start to write. And what emerges are words from your higher self, and these are the pure, unadulterated truths of the moment. Anyone can do this to find deeper truths that lie within themselves on any important matter. So here is what was transmitted. I've been financially raped 4 times, twice by governments, once by a hacker who infected the well-known journalist's computer that was interviewing me after learning we were going to be doing a lengthy 4-part interview. And I was also hacked once by a black ops government hired hacker setup, which took down a crypto exchange where I was much of the exchange's value back when I bought 289,000 Ethereum at an average cost of 68 cents. I reveal more in this video and detail all in my book, The Insane Asylum, This Is Me. The link is below. Now, as a wise friend once said, each rape was a blessing, since each of these had severe setbacks, but had they not occurred, I would have had an inferior spiritual path. And hindsight is showing so far that he was right. Indeed, money is a form of energy that can lift one to the skies or crash their jet into the ashes. And each major setback was a lesson, an awakening. So for each, I am grateful. And I therefore have no interest in naming names, of course. Each actor is in my life for a reason, and there is no such thing as a bad actor. That's just our own 3D representation of what we think is good or bad. Now, I've had to make back fortunes 3 prior times, and now I'm working on a 4th time. Trading is what has always worked in the past, and in consequence, I've helped many through my books, along with business partner Gil, of which one of the books was a bestseller on Amazon, and also through my website, selfishinvesting.com, where we teach investors how to fish so they too can become self-reliant. The countless emails and direct messages I've received over the years make it all worthwhile. And when Gil and I were the biggest draw to the money show in Vegas, we ate at the top restaurant. It was 3 Michelin star Joel Robuchon on the Strip. And the head waiter shocked us at the end of our lavish meal by telling us that he's paying for our whole dinner because our teachings through the years changed his life from down and out to being the head waiter at one of the most prestigious restaurants in the world. Now, most of the challenge when it comes to trading is becoming aware of one's inner demons. These demons can sometimes sabotage one's trading success. Jack Schwager, author of the famous Market Wizard series, said whenever his trading account reached $100,000, he would start to lose money. And Dr. Van Thorpe, a trading psychotherapist, identified a negative belief that Schwager held when it came to money, which caused him to sabotage his success. Some feel guilty about their wealth, and this can occur when so many are suffering. And others may hold beliefs that money is the root of all evil. And so Van Thorpe destroyed this belief of Schwager's, which is, of course, a limiting belief. So Schwager was able to break out of this $100,000 barrier. When it comes to the world of crypto, it's like doing or riding a thermonuclear warhead. It's easy to lose and make millions. And my material losses were never from trading. These financial deep setbacks, to say the least, were from being hacked twice. The first time I was hacked was back in 2016. Very early 2016, and a government which shall remain nameless took down an entire exchange where my coins became worth the majority of the exchange's value. 289,000 Ethereum, which I had bought at an average cost of 68 cents, which then skyrocketed, along with 50 million Doge and a vast amount of dark coin before it was renamed Dash. They all went up in smoke. The coins actually remain unmoved on the blockchain, but they sit as government property, so there's pretty much next to no chance of recovering these hacked coins. And I've also been strongly advised by counsel not to poke the bear again. Many well-known, I hired this very well-known legal team, and when this had happened, and they, after investigating the situation, they got their partners on the phone on a conference call, and they asked me point blank, "Who are you?" And they asked because this was a what they call a black ops government hack, so they deemed me a person of interest. Now, I had no idea at the time, but in hindsight, it all makes sense. I've always been deeply iconoclastic by nature, and I've looked to decentralize and therefore transform legacy banking, legacy governments, legacy medical, legacy legal, you name it, into engines, rather, that benefit the many at the cost of a few, instead of centralized systems which always benefit the few at the cost of the many. Even democracies degrade, and the slow to fast creep of authoritarianism, which plagues all centralized governments, are at levels seen just before massive collapse, revolution, and global war have unfolded. But this time, I believe that cutting-edge technologies such as blockchain and AI, they do make this time different compared to all the other cycles over the centuries, which always led to a giant reset where a new sovereign currency replaced the old sovereign currency of its time. Indeed, the Dutch guilder and the British pound and other currencies once upon a time were the sovereign currencies of the world. And since World War II, it's been the US dollar. And well, we know that the world is changing faster than ever, and it won't be long before Bitcoin becomes, I believe, the world's sovereign currency. But this will not have to come at the cost of collapse. Technologies such as AI are growing at breakneck speeds, which enable everyone from individuals to corporations to governments to push productivity to all-time highs, which affects GDP. And this will ultimately enable governments with record levels of debt to start paying down their debt. But expect heightened volatility, uncertainty, and new waves of inflation to unfold, which will further increase the number of have-nots who are living paycheck to paycheck, often in debt. And in contrast, the roughly 1 out of 8 people or families at the top who hold assets such as real estate, stocks, and Bitcoin will continue to see their net worths rise. Inflation steals from the poor and gives to the rich by making much needed goods from healthcare to education to food to electricity to housing far more expensive. And those who hold assets see their value of their assets rise as governments print digital money. But creating this money devalues the money. So such is an unintended tax which most affects those who don't hold assets. And this would be the majority of Gen Z and Gen Alpha. Now, the second time I was hacked happened several years later. And that was when a hacker overheard I was going to give one of the hundreds of interviews I've given over the years. And this was to a well-known writer at Cointelegraph. And they are one of the first major crypto publications. And the hacker hacked the journalist's computer, so was able to jump onto mine during our lengthy it was a 4-part interview on my trading career. And over the many years I've given such interviews, this is the first time this has ever happened. The hacker planted files, drained my wallets, engaged in identity theft, and ransomwared me. I refused to pay a cent, so the hacker has taken more extreme measures against me, and the hacker even used AI voice clone to get through security at one of my banks and has been using other platforms posing as me. The hacker even edited articles of mine or deleted them completely. Whoever this hacker is obviously has some issue. And this person is one type of individual that I know would hire this type of hacker. Basically, they can plant a timeline of files over a period of typically weeks that remain hidden to make the victim look like a major drug dealer, human trafficker, or fill in the blank. And forensics stand little chance against such a top-level black ops hacker, so the freedom and reputation of the victim are often destroyed. Fortunately, this hacker only had far less time, and I was able to catch it. But whenever higher source has created such situations, which are always compounded by other 1 in a million events that make me face my deepest fears in a checkmate-like fashion, each has served my greater good as a deep awakening of my true unbounded self, which means letting a part of me die quietly. But this has resulted in, shedding the old skin to make room for an awakening. And perhaps this time it's the mother of all awakenings. Letting go of money, reputation, and whatever else is to come enables me to replace the old with the new. And these are empowering paths. And it brings me to my true authentic self, which is in each of our soul's contracts on why we are here. And in consequence, it has been one of my deepest desires to help create a world where everyone can be true to their nature without judgment or persecution. Free ourselves from our masks. I have published the rest of my book. The book link is below, and the last remaining parts include Chapter 10, Life as an Alien Cylon, This Is Me, which explains my bizarre but unforgettable wiring. I'll talk more about this on the next video. Cheers.